my name is Jennifer Hearn, and today I'm going to show you how to use the patch tool. So I'm a portrait photographer based in Ireland, and I use the patch tool in Photoshop pretty much every single time I do an edit. So this little boy came to me in the studio a few weeks ago, and this is one of his shots. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new layer. This is pretty much the raw file that came out of the camera. I just took the light stand out of it. So I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to call it background. So if my client was to purchase this image, what I would see is that I painted this background myself and didn't do a wonderful job. So there's some distractions here, here, over here, and on the box, right? So the patch tool is a wonderful way to get rid of those. This is the patch tool here. It's a rectangular kind of a patch looking tool. You might find it on your side panel. If you don't find it on your side panel, it should be here where these three buttons are. If you keep your finger on it, you'll get a list, or your mouse on it, you'll get a list of all the tools that you don't have in your sidebar, and it should be there. So we're just going to click on this and we're going to basically draw a circle around the area that we want to get rid of. I'm using a Wacom pen, but you can use a mouse just as easily. Then we're going to grab it and move it to a new area. So it's a bit like the clone tool in Lightroom, except that you can use the area over and over again, so it's actually easier than the clone tool in Lightroom. So draw a circle and move. Draw a circle and move. Draw a circle, let go, and drag it to a new area. So all of a sudden we're just, not all of a sudden, but we're just very quickly removing these little blemishes that could be distracting to the eye. And we can go on and do this very carefully on the box. Circle it, move it, and drop it. Circle, move, and drop. Okay, so that will show you how we use it on the background. I'm just going to turn this on and off. You can see when it's off, and then I turn it on, and it's removed some of these. I might spend 5 minutes doing this. I will get rid of these guys as well. And just anything. I mean, it doesn't need to be a studio portrait. This could be something outside in your garden. The child might be sitting on something with some dirt on it and you want to get rid of the dirt. This is a really quick way to do it. It's faster than the clone tool. And sometimes you will need to use the clone tool. Sometimes you need to use a healing brush, but it's something that works very well, especially when you're pulling one set of pixels that are similar to another set of pixels in texture and color. And it is definitely very fast. So the next place I would use it is on close. Okay, so if you just make a copy using Command J, I will call this close, new layer. And what you might find is if you've got a child, especially that you're photographing, they may have spilled a little bit of ice cream or jam or chocolate or juice or fruit or something onto their top. And this is a wonderful way to get rid of that. Okay, so you can just literally circle an area and move it, and all of a sudden it is fixed. So this child has a little mark here on his jeans, and I'm just going to circle them, move it, and it's gone. Okay, so if I just turn that on and off, you can see straight away. And you can do that literally on stripy clothes, on pattern clothes. Just need to be a little bit more careful, but it does work reasonably well on fabric sofas, on pretty much anything. The area where I would use this tool probably the most is actually on skin. So I picked this image for the tutorial because this little boy, who is very beautiful, happens to be teething at the moment, and he has quite a rash around his face. So if his mom and dad were buying this image from me, then I would want to get rid of this, because this is just a temporary thing. I mean, it's going to be gone in a few weeks. It doesn't represent how this little guy normally looks. So I would do this with a mixture of the patch tool plus also this healing brush here. Okay, I think it's the spot healing brush, but not great on the names. So what I would do is, for these redder areas which have kind of the bumpy texture, the patch tool works really well on these. For these little tiny spots of dry skin, I would use this healing brush for that, which I'll show you in a second. The patch tool can even work for this little spot of drool on his lip. So if I just circle this and then move it, oh, my computer can't keep up with my brain, it's gone. So just to show you here how I would do this, I would do this probably if my client was after buying this shot, I would do this very carefully. It might take me 20 minutes to do it properly, but I think it's worth it. And I would just slowly go around the image. The bigger the piece you take, the more likely the computer is to make a mistake, okay? So the smaller the piece you take, the more likely the computer is to get it right. So if I'm doing it, you know, for an Instagram shot and nobody's going to be looking at the image up close, I will do this more rough and ready and probably take a bigger chunk, right? If I'm doing it for a wall print that I know is going to be, you know, 24 by 30 inches, I will do it nice and slowly and take my time to get it right, okay? So I'm just going to turn this on and off. That's off and that's on, and you can see the impact we've made already. If I want to get those little patches of dry skin, I will get those with this healing brush, and I will just have a nice little brush and it's just faster. You could do it with the patch tool as well, but it's going to be slower and more tedious. I'm just going to get all these little guys. So that's how I would use the patch skin on the patch tool on skin. So here is this I've done already. It's the same shoot, and I've just gone a little bit more slowly and cleaned all of that up with the patch tool and the healing brush. So it does work, it just takes a little bit of time. Another thing you can do with the patch tool, which it's not going to work very well on this image, but I'm going to show you because it does work really well on other images, is dark circles. So if I'm shooting myself in a self-portrait, or you know, certain people will have a tendency towards dark circles under the eyes, and the patch tool is a really good way to get rid of those. You can do it with the clone tool on a low opacity as well, but this is even quicker. So I'm just going to go back to my patch tool, and it's probably, this little boy doesn't really need it, he doesn't have dark circles, but what I would do is I wouldn't be going up to the lines here, because if you take those away, it's going to look a little bit artificial. So I would just be looking at the area under here, the darker area under here, and I can pull this down, and all of a sudden I'm getting rid of these dark circles. So it works really well sometimes, it doesn't work as well other times, but it is definitely a good option for under the eye bags or dark circles. Okay, so I'll just show you there. You can see it kind of blends them in. So for certain, you'll know the images where you might try to use it. I wouldn't probably be doing it for this boy, but it's something I wanted to show you as well. So that is in essence the patch tool, and all of its versatility. Please let me know if you've got any questions. I hope this was helpful.